to The Inevitable Radio Show with your host, William Sumner. This is a very special night. We're going to be talking about addiction strategies. Our thought patterns keep us reaching for that extra donut, that bottle of beer, or that cigarette. William is here to tell you that you are not broken and you never were. You just have broken strategies. Discover what really breaks the neural programs that are not serving you.
So, last segment we talked about this more pain, less pain situation that addicts find themselves in. Now, if you understand that I'm in bigger pain now, I've got to move from this place, and the strategy that I've been using to medicate my pain, some go to legal drugs, some go to illegal drugs, some go to a legal drug like alcohol that has times when we can use it and times that we can't. And generally, because that's masking the pain of what's really going on in their life, they will have to up the usage of that pattern. So sometimes they return to the doctor and they get their Wellbutrin or their Zoloft upped. They will return to the liquor store. They were buying a six-pack and it was lasting so long, and now they're buying a case and it's lasting not so long. And then something happens in their life and they realize, I've lost my spouse, I'm going to lose my kids, I don't want to be homeless, this is now more painful to me. They will stop their addiction pattern that they're currently using. That's why in a 12-step program that teaches you, I am an alcoholic and I am broken, it will work for some people, because if they muscle that into their life and they create it, just like leeches sucked evil vapors out of some people, and they got better because it was time to get better. And even when you look at traditional medicine and you understand the placebo effect, 33% on average people get better in any form of medical treatment, whether it's working or not, because they believe they're going to get better. So if you're in a stage and you're saying, okay, I'm going to take charge of my life, I can't lose any more people, I can't get another DUI, I don't want to get fired from another job, they'll take control of their life. They will muscle in that more pain, less pain pattern, and they will stop that. But when they go to a 12-step program who begins with, okay, you're an alcoholic, you have a disease, you are broken, you will forever be broken, they now become a slave to that pattern. And that slave, when you say I'm an alcoholic, you know, you're never going to feel whole. You're never going to feel I'm not broken. You're never going to feel I'm healthy. And again, the 10% of people that don't focus on the less pain, they realize, okay, through whatever process they went through, whether it was a coaching process, a counseling process, went to a seminar, read a book, met God on a mountaintop or on a lonely road at night, and decided, there I am over there. That's who I'm going to be. That's what I want for my life. They never look back. They head towards what they want, and they never use terms like, I'm an alcoholic. They will say, I had a problem with alcohol. And when you think about it, that's more congruent with the neural patterns that are taking place. So we talked at the last coming off the last break. So these people that are addicted to good things in life, whether that could be marathon running, that could be workaholics. I mean, it's no coincidence that we take work and create it as an aholic suffix and shopaholic or things like that, because that's our culture, that's our society trying to spin what that person has as a bad addiction. So think about it. Anything that's got aholic at the end of it, workaholic, we don't go like, oh, yay, that's an amazing, happy person. We think, oh, that's a person that's working too much. But the people that are marathon runners or the people that are addicted to their church and spend a lot of time there, those are great addictions to have. So think about it. Addiction is a neural pattern, and when we do PET scans of the brains of people that have addict patterns in place, doesn't matter what the addiction is. It could be alcohol. It could be love. The same parts of the brain, the same neural networks that tend to create those addictions line up. So, for instance, I had a client in last week who was just adamant that A, he was an alcoholic, and B, hey, it's genetic. There are people predisposed. Are you going to tell me, Bill, you're going to argue with me that there is not a gene that predisposes you to alcoholism? I know you're going to argue that. And I said, no, I absolutely agree with that. So if you want to talk to me about this, call me 303-713-8255, or you can email me or go to my website, william@williamsumner.net. The website is williamsumner.net. So this gentleman was talking to me and says, I know you're going to argue about that. And I said, no, it's true. There are genetic patterns. There are genes that predispose us to addictions. But here's an interesting thing to look at. Does every person who have the gene end up becoming an alcoholic?
Absolutely not. I have it in my family. I'm predisposed to be an alcoholic, but I've never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
It's just something that is in our family, but we're my nuclear family, the 5 of us, we don't have that problem.
No, but you have other great addictions in place, though, don't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because you got the gene for addictions. Now, every alcoholic, do they have the gene?
Absolutely.
Think about it. Every alcoholic, do they have a genetic disposition to genetic?
I guess not.
They do not. There are people that have perfect gene patterns, but something else taught them.
I just hear the argument so often that
yeah,
I made an assumption. You're right.
There's a great study. This is probably 18 months ago. Mayflies is a thing that we love to study because their generations move so fast. And it's a chicken or egg. Think about this. What happens? Does the egg come first? Does the chicken come first? And you know that's a circular argument. So you ask yourself the question, what comes first? Do you have alcoholic strategies and behaviors? Do they come first? Or do you have the genes that predispose you to those patterns?
Well, I guess it doesn't matter.
Exactly. And here's what they did to mayflies. They introduced behaviors to them that were antithesis to their current gene structure. One generation trained to do one behavior. Guess what happened to the genetic structure of the next generation of mayflies?
I don't know.
Was it changed or the same, do you think?
It was probably the same.
Think about it. If you follow the logic that either behaviors create genes or genes create behaviors, but they're correlated, they're not cause and effect. They took healthy mayflies, taught them a behavior that was tied to a genetic flaw that they did not have. The next mayfly generation had the genetic flaw. And because it was an aberrant behavior, they ensured that the next generation did not do the behavior. It took 80 generations of mayflies to get that gene out of the genetic structure. The 81st generation born were 80 generations did not do the behavior because it was a controllable, manipulated behavior by scientists. This is stunning stuff. This is for people out there that feel like I'm an alcoholic or I'm broken or there's something wrong with me. You might have the gene structure and you might have the strategy. And you might have picked that gene structure up well back in your ancestral line. But it doesn't mean that you have to have the alcoholic behavior. And in fact, many people who have the gene structure do not. But what they have is a predisposition to some form of addictive behavior. And that's why when you think about it, addictive behavior is a great tool if it's used properly. Hammers and saws can either build Taj Mahal or they can chop off your fingers and smash your thumbs. It's how you use them. Most people use addictions as an excuse, as I am an addict or I am an alcoholic and this is what I don't have in my life. But think about the people that are addicted to marathon running or addicted to their religion or addicted to great behaviors that actually bring them a lot of love and joy and success. We don't look at them and go, okay, you need a 12-step program. You got to go around saying, I'm an addict, I'm a marathon runner. And think about it. There are marathon runners out there, and again, out there in the listening land, you might have a spouse that they run so much that they're chronic knee problems, chronic things going on in their body, but they're addicted to running and they can't quit. Addiction is not what you've been taught that it is.
Thank you for listening to the Inevitable Podcast. Please take a moment to visit our website at theinevitableyou.com, where our membership offers a library of tools and resources that will help you overcome harmful behaviors by simply changing your psychology. You know, back to the alcoholism, I think it's fascinating that when you are in AA, you're talking to a leader who starts off every meeting that they're an alcoholic and they've been sober for, let's say, 35 years. Well, everybody sitting in that group, they want to be that leader who's sober for 35 years. So they think it's okay to still have the definition of I am an alcoholic. That's what they're striving for. They're striving to still be an alcoholic with 35 years of sobriety to lead a class like that.
And, it's not that they wake up in the morning and they're stupid. They wake up in the morning and they've been taught that they're broken. There's something wrong with them. And again, if you go back to the first segment, I said, if you get this, if you want to wake up tomorrow morning and not use the language, I am an alcoholic, you have to use some language. You're going to say, I am something. And if you believe you're broken, you're going to have to come up with something that says, I am what? I'm a problem. And we're going to talk in the last segment about what does that mean? How do we find the solution? What is the new identity command that we can wake up with? Because this belief system that you're broken and there's something wrong with you, it will happen. It will be real if you're taught that. And it will happen for you. But for those of you that have had great success with AA, I'm happy for you. I honor AA's intention. For those of you that it hasn't worked for you, or you have a loved one that's been in and out of rehab, we're going to talk in the last segment about what's the neural pattern that drives someone in and out of rehab. Why can't they find success? Why do some leeches suck evil vapors out and other leeches do not? So let's go to line 2. TJ.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can. I'm sorry I called you out there earlier. I got my lines mixed up here. Welcome to the show. How can I help you?
Well, I was just listening into that lady, and, there's a lot of power in our words. And she said if I took one sip, I would be right back where I was. Well, that's the program she's putting in her mind.
Yes.
She doesn't have to be like that.
Yes.
I'm a non-drinker. But, if she took a sip of alcohol, she would not have to regress.
That is correct. Again, when you're in a 12-step program, there is a very heavy-handed approach to the fact that you're broken. And one of the things I want to help listeners with tonight, particularly if you're out there and you have a loved one that is in an addiction pattern, I want to help you guys understand what's kind of the latest and greatest that's out there and how they can create a different reality. What would you like to talk about?
Well, I have a friend. He drink. He's a drug user and an alcoholic, or not an alcoholic, but he consumes a lot of alcohol. He's an only child, and his mom's an enabler, and he doesn't have the pain to move away from, his life. And I look at him, I'm like, come on, man, let's mature, let's grow up, let's move away from, your high school years, and there's just no pain there.
Well, one of the interesting things in this neuroscience that I work with, it's called neuro-linguistic programming.
NLP.
NLP, been teaching it a number of years. One of the things that a great practitioner will be good at is helping people understand that there is pain in their life. There is hidden pain. Does your friend have children?
No, he's a single guy. He's,
how old is he?
He's old. He's 36 years old, but he's basically stuck in, his sophomore, junior year. His mom had to buy him a house. He barely keeps a $15 an hour job. He's just stuck in that, and he doesn't have the self-discipline to move away from that or to grow up.
And sometimes, TJ, those kinds of people, particularly if they have an enabler, they have a managed strategy that he can maybe do this the rest of his life this way, and he'll be fine with that. What I would ask him, though, is there has got to be, first of all, any person that is using self-medication strategies, it's not because they're happy and joyous and have ecstasy in their life. It's about the fact that they have something they really don't like. If you heard the early part of the show, understanding what is their big problem that's behind it, one of the things that leaps out on this one is a guy that's 36 years old and doesn't have a relationship. There's not, and particularly if he's a sophomore in high school still in the party pattern of life, there's not a young man on this planet that generally doesn't grow up dreaming about having an amazing woman or a magical relationship or having a family and doing and creating the things for themselves. So what I'd like you to think about that when you talk to him is to say, hey, dude, maybe this life is a less pain, more pain. Maybe it's less painful for you, but what you're missing out in life now is, when will you have that relationship? When will you have that magical moment with a woman that is going to be your soulmate? So, TJ, thanks very much for your call. So, we said that we were going to tell you what's the solution. How do you wake up in the morning and talk about what's going to create your life at a high level tomorrow morning? Here's what I want you to think about. And if you've listened to the show before, I've talked about this more pain, less pain a lot because it really contains some great keys for understanding. So I asked the question, and this is a metaphor, does an overweight person want to be thin? And the answer is no, they don't want to be thin. Now, the common thing is that they say that they want to be thin. They want to have a happy life, but in reality, they're going to have a neural pattern associated with that I'm overweight that's going to be a more pain, less pain pattern. So part of what we're going to have to do when you begin to make these changes is knowing what you're going to say when you wake up in the morning that is truly empowering and great about who you want to be and what you want to say about yourself, what you want your new neural identity program or command to be. And we've got Jane back. Welcome to the show, Jane.
Hi. We got disconnected there a minute ago. Can you hear me?
I can. Welcome.
Oh, thank you.
Got a couple of minutes. We're almost on the wall here. What can I do?
Okay. Well, I guess I really found that a lot of what you said, that what you've been saying from personal experience is absolutely true. I had a serious drug problem and an alcohol problem. For years, I was in and out of AA and NA, and could never get it more than 2 or 3 years in at a time. And I don't know, about 2.5 years ago, I'd been really strung out, and I ended up using a spiritual practice. For me, it was a book called A Course in Miracles, and I started to meditate, and I started to use affirmations, and I started to think about, well, what do I really want? And I wanted peace. I wanted peace more than anything, and I wanted to be able to live in my own skin. And I just, after a while, I continued to drink after I quit doing all the drugs, but it went to I have 2 with dinner once or twice a month. I didn't even want that. And before I'd been up to a fifth of vodka a day. I mean, I was bad.
And how are you now?
I'm fine. I changed my mind about everything, and that's exactly what happened. Was I started to focus on what do I really want, and I started to just try and create that and pay attention to those things, and I started to pay attention to what I was paying attention to. Paying attention to what was going on in my head, and not just letting it go.
Jane,
letting it run.
You are my penultimate caller tonight. I'm going to leave the show with you. Thank you so much. This ability to know what we want, that's the key to everything. When you turn toward the I want, and Jane mentioned spiritual practice, know what you want. It could be your job. It could be more love. It's going to be something great. It's why you came here. You are inevitable.
Thank you for listening to the Inevitable Podcast. Please visit theinevitableyou.com where you can learn more about the psychology of addictions. Our membership offers dozens of tools that will help you or a loved one overcome any unwanted addictions and create a new powerful life.